Being able to show emotion through your cinematography is one of the most important skills you can have as a DP. Whether you show it through your choice of lighting, the movement in your scene, or what colour shines on set is not important. It's how you use those techniques to your advantage, even if it means using none of them at all. In today's video, I want to look at how to create emotion in cinematography and talk about the three major aspects of doing so, including what light to use in your scene, how to use colour to your advantage, as well as what types of movement you can use to amplify a certain feeling. The list of lighting types, rigs and placements is endless, so use whatever you have to in order to get your desired look, even if it's something completely unconventional. Firstly, we need to understand colour temperature, as the majority of lights these days will have the ability to change from tungsten to daylight and everything in between. I used to get really confused by this, but if you just remember that the higher the number, the cooler the light is, the lower the number, the warmer, and with 4K being about neutral, you should be okay. But what do you do when you need a purple or a green? Now, if you're using light with an RGB feature such as the Arri Orbiter, you don't need to worry about this, but if you're on a budget, then just grabbing a few gels for your LED panel is your best bet. Whenever I had to use different colours for a party scene or just to show emotion, this was my go-to, when I wasn't using RGB bulbs anyway, but even they usually aren't powerful enough to light an entire room. Other than colour though, how do you portray emotion through your lighting? To put it simply, it's where you place your lights. Creating a shadow on a face is easy, but placing that shadow is the hard part. Leave one space empty, like this scene from Skyfall, and you have an ominous character. Having no shadow at all, and you just have a soft light across the whole face, like this shot from her. It makes us feel sad for the character. It's plain, and apart from the red in the background, it's a desolate image. Choosing where to place your light is a huge decision, as it can change the tone of a scene in an instant. For example, using a silhouette creates mystery and suspense, whereas filling a character with light can show hope and opportunity. Ultimately, lighting is the most important tool you have, and even if you don't have a kit, you can just use the sun and move the camera. The easiest way to portray emotion in cinematography is just to use colour. If the character is sad, put them in a blue top or just shine a daylight lamp on them. If you want the opposite, just change the colour temperature or use a tungsten bulb. But I want to talk about more than just how to colour your scene. That's the easy part. It's choosing what colour to use to show emotion that is the hard part. Let's look at some different shots for example, such as this scene from the Grand Budapest Hotel, where we see Zero and Agatha surrounded by pink boxes and pink walls. Apart from the fact that they are pastel and it fits Anderson's signature style, pink is usually used to represent playfulness and innocence. However, that really depends on the setting. In Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Umbridge is also surrounded by pink, and she is known for being the exact opposite of what Agatha and Zero represent. On the inside, she's hateful and abuses her power, yet she displays the stereotypical sweet and feminine teacher on the outside, which pink is often used to depict. As far as interesting colours go, green has got to be one of them. The way that it can portray everything from nature to innocence to danger, just depending on the setting, is valuable, especially to us. The most obvious use of green is to show nature, as the majority of the outside is green, or at least a shade of it. But nature isn't an emotion. However, freedom is, such as in the Goonies where the main characters are first running away to find the treasure. They start by going through the town, but soon enough they are weaving through the trees and across a field. They've abandoned the safety of the town and now they only have each other. Green also happens to be representative of danger though. I mean, look at this shot from Kill Bill Volume 1. The entirety of it is some sort of green. Everything from Vernita's house to, obviously, the nature. Now, I'm not going to say what happens in the house just in case anyone hasn't seen it, but as it's a Tarantino film, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, there are many sources to show what each colour can represent, and I'll leave a source down below, but I wanted to give you all an idea of how important it is to use colour to represent emotion in every shot, as it's the easiest way to make the audience instantly feel something, whether it's comfort or anxiety. Movement is both the easiest and hardest part about creating emotion through cinematography. It's really easy to show distress through just taking the camera off the sticks, but if you want to portray tension rising, then getting a crane or jib may be a bit difficult. On a budget anyway. Let's start with the easiest type of movement first, which is no movement. The static shot is used in almost every film ever made, bar a few such as Rope or 1917. Name any emotion and there is a 99% chance that you can portray it through just a static shot. It may not be as good in telling the story as a more advanced movement, but going static is better than shoddy movement, as that can just take the audience out of the film. Personally, the dolly is my favourite piece of grip equipment for movement, and before I get started I just wanted to link this video from David F. Sandberg showing you how to make a dolly for cheap. The best part about a dolly is the fact that by just moving it forward, you've created so much more emotion in the scene than by just leaving it static, or worse, digitally zooming in. Which isn't a bad thing, but I think a dolly looks 1,000 times better. However, it could work for what you are doing, so forget I said anything. There are countless examples of tracking shots, but one that always sticks out to me is Spike Lee's use of them, which has now become his signature. His characters seem to be floating through the scene, but what does this mean? Well, in Malcolm X, he uses it to display the fact that Malcolm X knows what is about to happen, as if he has already projected his fate. Essentially, movement is something that, if I was starting out, I wouldn't worry about for the time being. It's very easy to get caught up in wanting to move the camera, but it may not even be necessary. Overall, creating emotion in film is really just down to the actors and how they want to portray their characters, but you can help amplify that through your cinematography. If they're full of sorrow, shine some blue on them and use a slow dolly in. If they're drunk in a club, use a multitude of light and go handheld. The list is endless, but it's up to you to make the decision of what to use. I hope you enjoyed this video looking at how to create emotion in cinematography. If you found it informative, a like is appreciated, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time.